What's good? Welcome back to another episode. I am the Yin Yang Mentor, and I would like to welcome you all to my show. Now, we had a great episode 1 where we talked about energy and what was the essence of energy. But how can I start a podcast without letting you all know about who I am and where I come from? So, I want to just share a piece of myself with you all, and I hope through the words of my testimony and through the words of my past, I hope I can help somebody out there who might be going through the same things that I'm going through, that I went through. Now, I'm Alex. I would like to introduce myself again. I am 27 years old, and I was born and raised in Covington, Georgia. Covington is it's about 15 minutes east of Atlanta, a very small town. It's becoming bigger, but it's a very small town. I was born and raised there. Came on the scene in '94, and I didn't realize how tough, how as a kid my light was dimmed by the very people I loved. I grew up around a Christian household. I grew up in a Christian household, and I grew up around Christians, self-proclaimed Christians. And for the life of me, even when I was younger, I could not understand what was the purpose of going to church. I grew up in those very same people that told me that church was cool. Church was a place where you could be rejuvenated, where you could be in communion with God, where you could go heal. And those same people weren't healing. And I've always had an inquisitive mind toward life. And at a young age, my family took that away from me. My family dimmed my light. The people that I loved, the people that I cherished, they dimmed my light. So I grew up. I went to Herd Mixon Elementary School. Then I went to Indian Creek Middle School. And then I finished high school at Eastside High School. And along the way, I never fit in anywhere. I played on the basketball team. That was cool. I played on the track team. I did a little shot put. But even surrounded by all of those people, all of my peers, I still felt alone. I still felt that I wasn't seen, heard, nor understood. And to top it off, my family never seen, heard, or understood me. I was always an outcast, even in my family. My family always knew there was something different about me. And I would go to events. I would go to Christmas parties. I would go to Thanksgiving parties. I would go to birthday parties. And even in the midst of quote unquote family, it still never felt like enough. It still felt like something was missing. But as a child, you don't have too much say so. You don't really have an authoritative voice in your household, especially coming from an African American household. We don't have a voice. We're just told to be seen and not heard. So I grew up. I tried to go with the status quo. And when I was in 10th grade, it was 2010. Remember, I said we came from a religious background, very religious background. We met this pastor, I won't say names, we'll leave names out of it because that's not the point. I came across this pastor and I thought that I finally found a father figure in my life. My dad passed away in 2006. Yeah, I had a stepdad, but ain't nothing like your biological dad. And so I was searching for that void. I was searching for that masculine energy to be my safe space. And I thought I found it in that pastor. Everything was cool, Time goes on and they started revealing their true colors. And next thing I knew, I was in a I was in a cult. Now, you might be asking, was it Jim Jones? He drank the Kool-Aid? No. No, it wasn't like Jim Jones, but it was psychologically oppressive. It was mentally oppressive. It was spiritually oppressive. A lot of people don't talk about spiritual abuse and how we go to churches looking to get healed, to get a word that sustains us through the week. And it hurts coming from a pastor who claim they love us, claim they are serving our best interests when in reality they don't. I ended up going to college. I went to college at a few schools. Started at Chattahoochee Tech, then I transferred to South Georgia Tech in Americas, and then I ended my last 2 years in Armstrong State University. My college years was pretty cool, but I was still under the tutelage of that pastor, and even when I was away, he would still try to control me. He was controlling my mind so much that even when I was away, all I could think about was I doing enough to please my parents? Was I doing enough to please my pastor? I couldn't even enjoy the present. The fullness, the richness of what was in front of me at that moment. Senior year comes and I end up tearing my labrum in my shoulder. From a little girl, I had aspirations of playing basketball, and I just knew I was going overseas. I just knew I was. But when I tore my labrum, it was like death. Because all I saw in my future was basketball, and it was cut short, and I felt as if my dreams were shattered. So I left school. I ended up still being with the pastor, and he made me get a job. That was my first job. I left school in 2016, and I got my first job at Six Flags. It was okay. I ended up working. From there, I ended up working at security in Atlantic Station in Atlanta, near Atlanta, excuse me. And I had a couple of jobs here and there, but what's ironic is I got fired from every single last one of them. I got fired. And I took that as a blow to my self-esteem, my self-worth, because I'm just like, if I can't work for nobody, why can't I work for somebody? Why can't I give, or why can I work to build a life for myself? And between 2016, when I left school, and to 2019, it was tough for me. I was depressed. Anybody who played basketball knows that when you don't have that, you grow up eating, sleeping, breathing basketball. It ends up being taken away from you, or you end up not playing anymore. It's like an existential crisis you go through. It's like, where do I go from here? And I fell into a deep depression because I did not know what my purpose was, what my soul purpose was, what I was truly meant to do in this life. So 2019 comes around, and I was still with that pastor, still being mentally, emotionally distressed and oppressed. And I heard something tell me, leave. And so I left. And I did not look back. And what surprised me the most is when I left, he threatened me as any narcissist. I grew up around narcissists. My mom was a narcissist. My family was a narcissist. My pastors were narcissists. My friends were narcissists. Here I was, this little old empath, and I grew up, and in 2019, I was 25. And I still felt like that little girl, because all of the people who I expected to guide me, to lead me, they let me down. And I remember it was October 2019. My spiritual awakening started. Everything I ever thought and knew about myself came tumbling down slowly but surely. Spirit started putting obstacles in my path, and it seemed so hard at the time. Like, what is happening? What is going on? Like, I was thinking, what is this? I didn't know what a spiritual awakening was. I didn't know what energy and astrology and the age of Aquarius. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that I was a very empathic person. I was a very I've always been spiritually in tune since I was a kid. And I did not know what was happening in my life. But by and by, Spirit started revealing himself to me. And I started building my own personal relationship with God. And that's when I found my passion of herbal soul products, which is my alternative medicine business. I made my first elderberry syrup, and from then on, I knew that was my soul's purpose. So I started making my products, building my business up. And remind you, I told you I had a spiritual awakening October 19. And anybody who's ever gone through a spiritual awakening knows that it is not fun at all. And everything started happening. I ended up going back to school actually to finish. I finished and went back to school at Clayton State, August 2018. I ended up finishing in May of 2020. But I ended up going back to school, and I had to go through a spiritual awakening while still being in school, and it was very treacherous. It was a very pivotal moment in my life, because I was 25, but I still felt like a little girl, and I did not know anything about the world because I was just thrusted out into the world, and I didn't know how the world worked. But all of us know, anybody who's human knows that life does not give us any warning of how it comes. It just comes. And I ended up losing my job. I ended up losing friends. I ended up losing family, the people that I loved. And I was asking God, why is all of this being stripped? Literally everything was stripped away from me. Anybody who knows the story of Job in the Bible, where God just stripped Job away. Job had everything. God just stripped Job away. I was Job. Everything that I ever thought was a solid foundation came crumbling down, and I came to a pivotal moment, another existential crisis in my life. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? I had 2 jobs. I was traveling when I wanted to. I had a girlfriend at the time. I'm part of the LGBT community, so I had a girlfriend at the time. I had everything I thought I ever wanted. I had money. I never had money. I grew up in a poverty-minded household, so I never knew what abundance was, and I finally had a sense of abundance. But it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't emotionally fulfilling. And so I went 2 months, 2 years, from 2019 up until earlier this year, relearning myself, tapping into my inner child, learning about who I was. I've had so many people tell me who I was that I didn't even know who I was for myself. And Spirit broke me down, stripped everything away from me so I could get back to the foundation of who I was. I ended up, after I left my pastor's house, I ended up staying with my grandmother. Then I ended up moving back with my mom. And I thought that it would be a chance for me and my mom to have a better relationship. But as time went on, I saw that my mom wasn't the person I thought she was, or she wasn't the hero I thought she was. She was a full-blown narcissist, and she was trying to destroy me and the essence of my personality and who I was. And even though I was going through all of that, Spirit told me to stand still. And I did not understand it. Spirit was telling me, stay strong. You're going through this because there are lessons that you have to learn for your soul's purpose. And surprisingly, June of this year, I end up leaving my mother's house and venturing out on my own. And I thought that was the end. I thought that, okay, I got through it with my mother, I got through it with the pastor, I got through it with all these narcissists. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I can make it through. Come to find out, the world is like this. So it was like a sword, another sword I had to conquer, another mountain I had to conquer. I'm like, so my family's like this, so now I got to deal with the world like this too. Like, dang. And the people, it was strangers that were attacking me. Now, it's different when you have your family attack you, but you have strangers who don't even know you try to attack you. It's like, wow, I don't even know what hurted the most, strangers or your family. But either way, it hurts knowing that you are, as an empath, you are targeted because of your kind nature. And I never understood that. Why do we live in a world where having a good heart is something that people shun? Everybody wants to be this cold-hearted person. Don't show no love. Don't. And I never understood that. But right now I'm standing here, and I won't say it's been easy either. Still, it's not easy. Just in August, I found out that my great grandma passed in 2009. It's 2021, so it's been 12 years. She passed away, and I'm just now finding out my family stole an entire inheritance from me. And it baffled me. After that, I cut off my entire family. And Spirit showed me that your entire family is karmic. See, when we come into this life, yeah, we might have biological family. We might have a biological mother, biological father, etc. But they still come into this life with us in this 3D life at this time, at this point in space, to teach us a lesson. But I found out my whole family gaslighted me and manipulated me so I would not remember who I truly was. And they stole my inheritance. And I'm still a little bit salty about that. I ended up getting my own apartment after I left my mom's house. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna get a new start. This is my new start. This is my chance to prove to myself that I can be and prove to my family that I can be an adult, an independent adult. And there were people, when I moved into an apartment complex in Atlanta, in South Atlanta, it was strangers with the same narcissistic spirit. They saw I was an empath and they attacked me for no reason. They sabotaged my apartment. I ended up being terminated illegally. And all of the thoughts of not proving my family wrong, they came tumbling down, and my worst fears came about. Like, can I really do this? Can I really make something of myself? Can I really be the person that I know, that I inherently know that I can be? And after all I went through, after the betrayals, after the lies, after the gaslighting, after the manipulation, after the attacks from strangers in my family, right now, I'm still standing, and right now, I have found my soul purpose. Sometimes God has to strip us of our very foundation so we can build back up the true foundation of who we are. And my true foundation is helping and serving people. I am a high priestess. I am a mentor. I am a teacher. I am a yin yang guru of the feminine and masculine energies. And this is my calling, to help empaths around the world know that your empathic abilities is not an ailment. It's not something to be ashamed about. It's not your kryptonite. It is what empowers you. It is what makes you human. And my mission from this day forth is to show people, is to let my own light shine and be my authentic truth and tell my story to everybody out there who will listen. And let you all know and help you all discover yourself as well, your true selves of who you were meant to be since the day you came out the womb, since the time you signed your individual soul contract. We'll get to that later on down the season. But get to back to the essence of who you are. And as I look back on my life, I thank Spirit and I thank my ancestors. Because without them, I don't know where I would be. I probably would be crazy. I probably would be homeless. I probably would be still allowing people to use and abuse me. But I made it a duty to my inner child that I would make up for lost time, and this is what I'm doing. And now we're about to get the ball rolling. We're about to change the world. I truly believe I can change the world, and I want you to see the light in me so you can see the light in yourself and believe that you can change the world on your own terms, your own individual way. And that is my story, you all. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me. And I hope that this helps somebody. If you would like more topics such as these, you can follow me on Instagram on the YinYangMentor. And I will drop my link in the podcast so you can follow me as well. But I look forward to sharing my journey with you, us sharing our journey with each other, and we can come to a space where our inner child is never neglected, well respected, and protected. Peace.